unseasonably warm winter here in North Carolina, and today is the first day that's really been cold enough to test this next product. I'm talking about Hippo Hands. Now, Hippo Hands, I've used them in the past. I've used the older model. I had a model that was from the late 80s that was passed down to me from a family member, and they were unfortunately ruined in an accident whenever I totaled my GS 850. But the older model had an older look, and they have been improved upon, and the design has changed a little bit. They used to look like this. How did that get in there? They used to look like this. So let's go ahead and open up this box and see what the new improved Hippo Hands look like. Once we have the Hippo Hands removed from the box, we simply remove them from their shipping bag. Here we see that we have two Hippo Hands, of course, one for each side. And it's got its logo there, Hippo Hands. And of course, it fastens over the grip, the controls, everything like that, and your mirror. It holds itself in place with this strip. It goes across here. It's got a hook on it, and it has a piece of neoprene with Velcro on that to kind of block out the wind and hold things in place and what have you. Now, in a minute we're going to go out and put this on Fieldy, put these on her and see how they work. All right. One thing you're going to need to use these is some brush guards, because with the force of the wind pushing on the Hippo Hands, it could push back on your clutch or your brake, and you could get a dragging brake. You could burn up your clutch a little bit, cause a little wear and tear there. But with brush guards, it would push against those instead. These are just cheap little brush guards that I picked up on eBay. I think they were like 10 bucks, something like that. So we're going to throw these on. We're going to see how everything fits together. All right, let's go. Our first step is to go ahead and install our brush guards so that we have a good mounting surface for the Hippo Hands to adhere to. One thing to note, if you do decide to get this brand of brush guard from eBay, I did have to modify it just a little bit. I had to take the plastic cover off, and here on the end where it curves up, I did have to flatten that out. So I just sat it on a piece of wood and tapped it with a hammer. It's just soft aluminum. It'll bend very easily. And then you just put the two screws back, put it all back together, and of course you put it all together the way it's supposed to go. Also, the bracket that slides into the handlebars that holds everything together, it kind of comes like this. These are going to be pointing to the outside. When you put it together, you want to take it apart. You got to take it apart to put it together anyway. So you take it apart here, slide that out, and if you notice, it has a little shoulder there. That's going to slip right into your brush guard, right in there. And when you put this back together, you slip the bolt through, just like so. And when you put it back in, you want those two little points to go to the inside. And they're going to go right in between there, and that's what's going to hold everything together as you turn it and tighten it down. Then it's going to move along this beveled edge and it's going to spread it out. And that's how it's going to be held in place. Alright, now we're ready to install the Hippo Hands. Mind the background noise, they're clearing out some land. The first step is to go ahead and take an alcohol wipe and clean off the front of your brush guard, because we're going to be putting on one of those strips of Velcro to help hold the Hippo Hands in place. We just peel off the backing here. And we put it right on. Say about here. And we do the same thing on the other side. Installation of the Hippo Hands is pretty straightforward. You just make sure that it's open. You slip it over the entire assembly there, bring it up, and Velcro it shut. That's the first step. Alright, they seem to be in place there. Now we take our little cordage, and we get some slack in it, of course. We bring it around to our enclosure. And this little loop there, bring it around the whole enclosure there. Make sure it's all the way around, and then we cinch it down tight. And for the most part, it is installed. We do the same thing, make sure that it's opened up all the way. And make sure our Velcro is in the front here. It's making contact and it's made a good mating surface. We fasten our Hippo hand there. We bring our strap around. And cinch it down. That closes off everything, and I've taken the little neoprene parts of the Velcro backing and I've just put it across the top here. Just kind of close that area off a little bit more. There we are. To give you an idea of how much space you're working with, you have a pretty good depth. It covers up most of your wrist area and your hand, so it should block the wind fairly well. Alright, I've got my gloves, I've got my balaclava here, and I've got the Hippo Hands. It's about 30 degrees, so with the wind chill at 65, 60 miles an hour, you're in the negative temperatures. So I'm going to go for a ride, a good long ride, and I want to come back and tell you what I think of the new improved Hippo Hands. Okay, I'm back from my ride. I stayed out probably about an hour or so. And I have to say they work fairly well. The Hippo Hands, the new version, works fairly well. While my hands weren't sweating from the heat, they were protected from the wind, and the heat of the sun was actually retained inside the space. And all I was wearing was a simple leather glove. I'd take my hand out, it would get cold, I would put my hand back in, and it would almost immediately begin to warm back up, which brings me to my next point. The older version of the Hippo Hands, you couldn't take your hand out while you were riding. If you did, it was almost impossible to get your hand back into it because it conforms so closely. You would have to pull over, put your hand back in, and set off again, which was not really optimal. So I wouldn't really say it was a design flaw, but it just made it a little more difficult to work with. The new version is quite a bit more open than the original version, but it does hold heat, and it holds heat very well. It protects from the wind, it would protect from rain, I'm sure, and it would protect from snow and whatever else. It would keep your hands out of the elements. Now the model that I'm using on Fieldy is the Dakota. That's because of the buckhorn handlebars that I have. They have not one size fits all. They have numerous models of the Hippo Hands for adventure, for cruisers, for choppers. You would have to just look at what they have. I'm going to leave a link in the description below to their fantastic line of products. I would say 100% I recommend the new version of the Hippo Hands. I had my doubts, but it proved the test. So, alright guys, I'd like to thank you for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button, and since you're down there, you might as well subscribe. Alright guys, a very special thanks to Hippo Hands for sending those. I really appreciate it. It is a fantastic product. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.